New movement prep. Here we go. Stuff. As an asterisk to movement prep, right? You can always do extra movement prep. We love rotating through movement prep so you guys get to learn new stuff and you get some like force variety and all that good things. But sometimes there may be like a movement thing that you do and you're like, man, that feels so good on blank and blank. You could do that every single time you come in. So I really encourage you to get here a couple minutes earlier than the session starts to move and to warm up something very specific to maybe something that kind of like bothers you or something you like to get extra warm up with, especially since we are seasoned people, right? We've been around for a minute, right? Some things take a little more warming up to do. I always spend a lot of time on my hips because they just want a lot of warm up because my back loves when my hips are nice and happy. So come in and do some extra stuff before we get the stuff going, right? And, right, it's always a good thing to get your heart rate up as well. So just getting on the bike, getting on the skater, and just getting the blood pumping is never a bad thing. Now, what we're moving into, we're going to have a few things. Depending on the instructor, they will determine the order, and they will give you those commands. So I'm going to go through a style of going through this, but you may see it in a different pattern. Speaking of pattern, the warm-up will be on a clock, so there will be no rep counting. The instructor will just have like a 45-second on, 10-second rotation type of like pacing. So it's just going to work to the beep, rest, switch, work to rest, beep. And the instructor will help give commands to help you on that timeline, right? So one of the exercises, band pull apart. So I'm going to give you the first variation, which is a straight band, right? Tension, pull apart, does not touch my chest. Tension, does not touch my chest. There should never be slack, and I should never be pulling it across my chest, right? So it's a real small range of motion, okay? Depending on the week, you may get the instructor who may say something fun about like pull from down to bottom, or from bottom to up, or straight across, or may do X's, or they may do palm ups, X's, or palms up acrosses. Either way, you're going to do band pull aparts for 45 seconds until the instructor says transition to the next exercise. So band pull aparts, red band is great, orange band is great. Blue band would be a stretch, okay? Because you want to be cranking out a whole bunch of them. The other one's going to be a get up. So no need to demonstrate a get up. Lay on your back, roll your side, get up, get back down. You will be working for 45 seconds, one side. So if that's one get up, or if that's 1.5, or it's 1.25, doesn't matter. Just keep going until you hear the beep. I suggest grabbing a bell that's something you cannot curl. So if I can grab this bell and I cannot curl it up, then that's the appropriate weight to do, okay? An instructor may throw in like a bottoms up or a waiter's hold in there too, just for variety. They'll let you know. So band pull aparts, we have get ups. We're gonna go, make it simple, just straight hip lifts, nothing crazy. We're gonna be on our back, heels down, toes up, so it's very specific. And then when I get in a hip lift, what's the first thing you do before you do your hip lift? Press your ribs down into your hips so that you don't make it a lower back exercise. And then I'm just going to hip lift. Right? And I'm going to continue to hip lift without my butt touching the ground or minimally touching the ground for 45 plus seconds. Okay? And I'll stop at the beep. Maybe the instructor wants me to do 2 sets. I'm just going to listen to the instructor as we get going through that movement prep. Okay? So that's going to be glutes. And then, I should have stayed on there. Side lying, right? So side lying around the world. This is going to be some upper back health. And what we're going to do is we're going to get into kind of like our get up position. We're going to take that knee all the way across to the ground. I'm going to take, if my knee's on the ground, right, I'm just grabbing it so this feels natural, so my body's across. And all I'm doing is I'm taking my finger and I'm just making big around the worlds. I'm only going as far as I can without this knee or hand coming off the ground. So whatever that is. For me, I'm just doing this for 45 seconds. Beep, and I may have 10 seconds, and I'll transition over the other side, trap the knee with the arm, and then the same thing. Okay. I'm just going as far as I can with my finger touching the ground. As soon as it comes off, I just go back the other direction, keeping my hand on my knee on the ground. Okay. Another exercise we're going to get into is a little bit of heart rate and a little bit of skill. It's a little bit of balance work. And we're going to do skipping. So that's going to be generally in place. It may be forward and back of your square, depending on the room. That may be across the room, depending on what the instructor has us do. So that's going to be real simple. Just skip. Okay. You can make this as big or as small as you want, but we're really just practicing that single leg balance, bound, land, which is really important for our long-term athleticism. And then the last exercise, a little bit of kettlebell skill work, which we like to keep in the movement prep to keep our skills fresh. And that's going to be a dead stop alternating clean. So the bell will be in between your feet. I'm going to put my hand on the bell. I'm going to squat down, big chest, and I'm just going to clean to the rack position, put the bell back down, switch hands, and I'm going to go for that 45 seconds. Thumb pointed behind me. I'm using my legs to move the bell up. I am not throwing the bell ahead of me. So that's why it needs to be heavy enough to where you can't curl it, so you don't curl it. So that it's a nice ballistic, good, fun, explosive movement to get those cleans going, to get that practice of just that good, nice rowing and rack position that's so good for that exercise. That's the movement prep.